This is the last video of a three-part series on Let's Watch Soccer project. I would highly recommend watching the first two parts before you see this video. I'm also assuming that you are familiar with the basic terminology of web authoring. In this video, I shall be talking about the development of an instructional website shown here. You may access it by going to www.intrigue.work. This website is divided into four main tabs. The first tab, Then and Now, describes the history of the sport as well as contemporary soccer scene. The next tab takes you through the basic gameplay, team structure, and some common vocabulary of the game. Then, under the Laws of the Game tab, the 17 laws of soccer are described. This is where the Java applets explained in the previous video are embedded. Each of these buttons load a different applet and generates text dynamically when the user clicks them. The last tab, Dribble, has a quiz which you may take to self-evaluate your learning. Unfortunately, it won't load because I don't have internet connection today, but you can see that on the website. I will now briefly take you through the code for this website. I use Dreamweaver for coding the web pages. Dreamweaver comes with Adobe Creative Suite subscription, but I believe you can purchase or subscribe to it independently as well. Dreamweaver can be used to create several web-related files, including HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, which are the three types of files I've used in this project. This is how the Dreamweaver's interface looks like when you open it. You can close this welcome dialog or use it to create new files. You can also create a new file of any type by going to the File tab. To do so, click on the file and then on New, and then select the type of file you want to create, then click Create. This will create a new untitled file with corresponding file extension. You can then save the file in the desired location. I cannot go into the details of web authoring and site development in this video, but if you are going to create a website, I would advise you to store all your files in the same location. If you are planning to upload your site on the internet, you will require server space and a domain name. You will also need to connect your site to the server. To do this, you need to go to the Site tab, then select New Site. You then name your site in the Overlay dialog box, choose where you want to store the local files, add the required server settings in the next tab, and then click Save. So far, I have never had to add or modify any other settings in this dialog for creating a simple site. Once the site is created, its files can be seen in the Files tab on the right. I have already created and synced my site with my server, and I will take you through it next. A site folder looks and behaves as a normal folder, and you can create other folders and files inside it from both within the Dreamweaver by right-clicking in the File window or by going to the folder location in your system. The grouping can be as per your choice. However, convention dictates that you store each type of file together. Also, the landing page of your site is usually named Index or Home. The File window is the only window that I use throughout the project. It is usually open when you first open Dreamweaver. If you do not see it or accidentally close it, you may reopen it by going to the Windows tab like this. Through the File window, you can connect to your server using this icon. This icon to its right is the refresh icon. If you made any changes to your file structure externally and then they are not reflected here, you may use it to update the content. You may also use the get and put icons to fetch or upload the files to your server. You may update all your files on the server through this icon. To clearly view your files, you can and compare them. You can also separate and enlarge this window like this. And in the detailed view, the space on the left holds your server files and that on the right, your local files. Unfortunately, you cannot see them again because of no internet connectivity. I will now show you the code of the Laws of the Game page and take you through some of its main sections. Let's open it. This is the page that holds the Java applets explained in the part 2 of the video series. Let me quickly show you how the final page looks like. Now we'll go back to the code. A typical HTML page is divided into two main sections, head and body. The head holds the meta information for the page while the body has the content. The HTML file is usually also linked with the CSS file which holds its styling. The linking is done in the head section like this. This particular page is also linked to a JavaScript file which unloads and loads the Java applets. The body tag holds the content for this page, for any page. These first few lines inside the nav tag are common to all the pages in my website and are used for the primary navigation. This next tag with ID Apple code acts as a placeholder for applets. The applets are loaded here using JavaScript, which is explained later in the video. The applets are controlled using the buttons created by the buttons tag below. The button tag also changes the following text dynamically based on user input. Lastly, the footer tag holds the footer information and has links about page, contact page, etc. Now, a bit about styling through CSS. The CSS adds the styling elements and describes the layout of the HTML. As you can see, I have used multiple CSS files in the HTML code, as certain style elements are common to all pages and have separated out in one file, while others are particular to each page. For example, CSS navigation has a style navigation for all the pages that share it, and while CSS law is specific to this page. When I link both these files to HTML, then all the elements get styled. One cool feature of Dreamweaver is that once the links are attached, then all the connected files can be seen together like this and open automatically when you open the HTML file. I will not get into the details of the CSS file, but let me quickly show you how CSS styling is done. As you can see here, the body tag has certain elements, certain properties for the elements of the body tag, and that's how it styles it in this HTML. Similarly, all the other tags are styled. Now we will go to the .js, that is the JavaScript file. Now I'll be honest, I do not know too much about scripting and have borrowed most of the code from outside. I have modified it accordingly, and the each of these functions that are shown here controls one of the buttons that you saw on the laws of the games page. So what I'm essentially doing here is I am changing the text dynamically through this element.innerHTML, and then I am loading and unloading applets through this next line of few codes. The for loop is very simple. It is just used to select and show the highlight the button that you have already clicked. Now, similarly, all the other pages are structured. Now I'll show you how .class file is added to our HTML code. To do this, you need to go to the location where your Java applets are stored, because we need these files in our site, the .class files. So you go to the bin folder of your project. Here all the class files are located. Now I'll just need to copy these and then paste them onto my site. I won't do this because I already have these files on my site. But please remember to also put all the dependent files. Like for example, I have an image file that my applet uses also in this folder. Now ideally I should group all these and put them inside one folder. However, I am not able to load those files through my JavaScript, and therefore I cannot do that. Let's preview our site in the browser. So now you can choose whichever browser you want from here. The default browser has a shortcut to preview it, but please remember this won't load in Chrome because Chrome does not support applet anymore. One more thing, go to your system preferences and go to your Java console to change certain settings, security settings. In the security tab, you basically need to add your site. This is because Java has very high security, and if you don't do this, it will not run your applets. So you need to do that even to check your code. So that's one last thing to remember. But otherwise, your site can be up and loading. So I hope you like these videos. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please go to www.intrigue.work to see the site, and please leave your comments below, or you can go to the site and leave your comments in the contact us page here, and I would really appreciate your feedback. So thanks again for watching. Please watch the other two videos if you haven't done so. Thank you.